How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle. Today we're having a battle versus Scorpion, also known as Scorpien from the Discord server. Go ahead and join the Discord server. It's the best place to go for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battles right now, in my humble opinion. There is a link in the description down below. I've also noticed that only 36% of people watching this video are actually subscribed, so just double check that you are, because YouTube likes to unsubscribe people sometimes. It's a bit bizarre. And if you're not subscribed in the first place, why not? It's free, it helps me out, and I really appreciate it. So all that being said, let's jump into the team preview. Oh, that was hard to do with a straight face. But obviously, Captain B-Nard here with another Wi-Fi battle, and today we are, as I said, having a match with Scorpion. We've played him once before here in Scarlet and Violet. He's a very strong competitive battler, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and, all jokes aside, see how this match goes. So yeah, looking at his team, looks to be very strong, very interesting, actually, rain team. So it looks like we might actually have a little bit of a weather war on our hands here, which is interesting, because that was definitely not the plan, but that definitely looks like what might happen. So looking at my team, it is the same one that I have been using the past few games here. It is, of course, the Pseudo Sun team. So I think we're going to go ahead and actually lead with the Pheasantipity in this one. And yeah, we will see how that works out. All right. So, it looks like he is going to go ahead and lead with the Barraskewda as we lead with the Pheasantipity. So, that's kind of okay for us. Right out of the gate here, I think we're just going to go ahead and go straight for a U-turn to try and get a pivot, get some momentum on something. I think that's probably the best course of action, so that's what we're going to do. He is just going to go for a flip turn of his own. It is going to do quite a lot of damage to us, actually. That's definitely going to be a choice band, as they typically are, but it takes us down by like 50%, which is really awful for us. But the only good thing about this is we are going to get the slower pivot, so he is indeed going to go ahead and come in with the Pelipper to go ahead and get the Drizzle to make it rain, as we are going to U-turn here. Going to do some chip to this thing, not a ton, and we do get the pivot out, which means we are going to be able to go ahead and switch in with our Ninetales immediately, which is going to go ahead and erase the rain and replace it with the sun. So that's exactly what we need. So yeah, in this situation, I'm not 100% sure what he is going to want to switch into. He's probably not going to want to stay in on this matchup here, but I think, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? I think we could actually go for a nasty plot here, although I don't know for sure if I want to make that risk, but we definitely could. You know what? I think we're going to do it. We're going to go for the nasty plot. As he stays in, we do go for the nasty plot, so we're going to go ahead and get a sharp special attack increase. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us. As he goes for a U-turn, he gets some chip damage, and then he is going to pivot out here. So what he comes in with now is going to be really critical. So what is it going to be? If it's something that will outspeed us, that'll be pretty awful. But yeah, we'll see what he wants to do here. We do have the sun up, so we have to be careful, because now that the Pelipper's out, he could easily... so it's going to be the Mouse Hold. So he's going to come in with the Mouse Hold. So that's not great for us, because this thing could easily outspeed us, which would obviously be terrible. I don't know how we want to handle this. I kind of don't want to stay in, just due to the simple fact that this thing could easily outspeed us. So that is not great. We aren't max speed, so I think what we have to do here, I think we have to switch. I think we go ahead and switch in with the we switch in with the Probo Pass. So that is a little bit of a wasted turn for us, unfortunately. We probably shouldn't have tried to set up that early, but I was hoping that we could get a big shot on something with the Ninetales. So we do come in with the Probo Pass as he goes for the Encore, which is fine. So that's obviously going to fail. We have a little bit of a choice to make this turn. He probably doesn't want to stay in on this matchup, so we could easily get a pivot out here if he doesn't. So he could also Encore us. I also kind of want to get Stealth Rock up because I feel like that could be really important against his team. So I think we are just going to go for the Stealth Rock, as he indeed does go for the switch. So what does he switch in here? It is going to be the Pelipper, so that is an extremely ballsy move on his side, as we could have easily Volt Switched here. So he does get the Rain back up, which is unfortunate, as we do go for the Stealth Rock to get the entry at hazard up on his side, which is nice. So I think this turn we definitely do go for the Volt Switch outright, as I don't believe he has any electric immunities on the team. So yeah, we do just go for the Volt Switch here, as he is going to U-turn himself, which is actually good because we are going to get the slow pivot. So he does switch the Pelipper out, obviously, and we'll see what he wants to switch in with here to face the Probo Pass. It is going to be the Manaphy, so that's kind of fine, actually, as he comes in with that. He takes the Stealth Rock damage, and we are going to go for the Volt Switch. So we do get a little bit of chip on this thing, and more importantly, we do get the pivot. So we're definitely going to want to go right back into Ninetales here, I think, to get rid of this Rain as quickly as possible. We definitely don't want to leave the Rain up on this thing, or on his side of the field, unless we have no other choice. So we do get the Drought to turn the Sunlight harsh, which is nice. Now, the only problem with this situation is that he could easily switch back out into the Pelipper, and if he does that, that's going to mean that if we go for the Solar Beam, it's going to have to charge for a turn, which means we're going to be stuck. So we have to be really careful about doing that. I kind of don't want to put myself in that situation. So I think our best course of action here, he could also stay in Tail Glow, although I don't know if he necessarily wants to do that. But I think our best bet here is going to be, I think we just go back into the Pheasantipity, actually, so that's what we're going to do. We cannot afford to take big damage on Ninetales or anything of the sort, so we do switch out, and we go into the Pheasantipity here, and we'll see what he wants to do. He does go for the Surf, which is interesting, so that is going to do some chip damage to the Pheasantipity. It is weakened thanks to the Sun, fortunately, and then we do get some HP back with the Leftovers. So I don't know if he's really going to want to stay in on this matchup or not. I feel like our best bet is, based on that damage, he probably doesn't stay in on this matchup. So I think what we're actually going to do, I kind of want to try and get a big shot off on something. So we're actually just going to go for a play rough here and see what he wants to do. We could try to pivot and hope to get lucky with a Toxic Chain Poison, but I don't really want to do that, as indeed he is going to go for the switch. We have to get some damage on something, so he is going to come in with the Mouse Hold, interestingly enough. So that thing does come in. It does take Stealth Rock damage, and we do go for a play rough. We do connect. It's not quite enough to take this thing out, unfortunately, but it does big damage to the Mouse Hold, which is incredible, and then we do get some HP back with the Leftovers. So I think in this situation, he definitely could want to go for a Tidy Up to try and get the Stealth Rock off the field, so I think we definitely attack this thing, and we're just going to go for the U-turn, as he does go for the Tidy Up, kind of as expected, to go ahead and get rid of the Stealth Rock. That is also going to obviously give him the attack and speed increase. But we are going to go for the U-turn in return, and that will definitely be enough from that range to take the Mouse Hold out and knock him down to 5. So Pheasantipity is doing good things for us here, which is great. The only bad thing about this situation is that we do pivot out, which means we have to show first. Now, I think our best course of action here is probably to go back into the Probo Pass, so that's exactly what we are going to do here. Because we will regain some HP with the Leftovers, and that will actually put us back up to full HP, which is going to reactivate our Sturdy, which is really important in case we have to take a big shot on the Probo Pass to prevent him from doing something else. But yeah, we'll see what he wants to come in with in response to that. And he does have obviously a lot of solid options, but we'll see which one he wants to go for. He does know we have Volt Switch, so he might be hesitant to bring the Pelipper back in on us. Not wanting to lose the Pelipper, because obviously if you lose your Weather Setter in a Weather War type of scenario, that is going to be really detrimental to whoever loses their Weather Setter first. So we will see how he wants to play this situation. And he is going to come in with the Crawdaunt, so that's interesting. So he comes in with the Crawdaunt, and so we definitely can't afford to leave this thing to try and set up. We are just going to, I think, Volt Switch. I think that's the right move, because we definitely don't want to... We need to get damage on this thing and break a potential Sash if it has it. So we're just going to go for the Volt Switch outright. He goes for the Crab Hammer. He doesn't miss, unfortunately, and that is going to knock us all the way down to 1 HP with a critical hit, which is really unfortunate. We do survive thanks to the Sturdy. He is going to take some Life Orb damage. We go for the Volt Switch in return. It is not quite enough to take the Crawdaunt out, which is very unfortunate. But we do get the pivot, which is good. So the question is, what do we want to come in with to try and face this thing? And that is a good question. I think our best answer is actually going to be our Roaring Moon. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that. I haven't been counting my Sun turn, so I hope it doesn't expire this turn. We do get the Photosynthesis attack boost, which is nice. And the Sun is not quite up yet, so I should probably check that. As there are still 3 turns of the Sun left, so that's perfect. So in this situation, I think we don't lose anything by just going for a knockoff. It should definitely finish the Crawdaunt from this range, so we have no reason not to just go for it, as we do just knock off here, and obviously from that range that will take out the Crawdaunt and knock him down to 4 Pokemon. So that is pretty great, and we are going to take some damage from... Or I shouldn't say take some damage, we're going to knock off his Life Orb. So the only other good thing here is he still doesn't know that we are Scarf. So he comes in with the Zapdos. Now we have kind of an interesting choice to make here. I think our best bet here is probably, because I don't know what this thing can really do to us unless it's got a Terra type that's going to take us out, but I think getting rid of the item on this thing is going to be really beneficial, so I say we actually just stay in and go knock off here, so that's what we're going to do. He is in fact going to Terra, so that's unfortunate. He's probably is going to Terra like Fairy or something, but we'll see what it's going to be. It is going to be Fairy, so that's really unfortunate. So we are about to lose our Roaring Moon to this thing, which does suck. But we are going to go ahead and get a knockoff at +1 resisted on this thing. It does still do quite a lot of damage to that thing and get rid of its choice specs, which is interesting. He goes for a Terra Blast Fairy here. Even without the choice specs, I don't think there's any way we survive that. And indeed, we do not. So we lose Roaring Moon there, which does suck. But Roaring Moon did do some big damage to his team, which is nice. So now we have a choice to make on our hands here. He's got the Terra Fairy Zapdos in. He's obviously got to have Electric Fairy and Flying coverage on that thing, I would assume. I think our best bet to try and face this thing is to hope to get lucky with the Ninetales. I think that might be our best bet here. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we have to hope. I think we do still outspeed this thing unless it is max speed investment. It might not outspeed. But I think our best bet is just to go Fire Blast here and hope we don't miss. That's what we're going to do. He actually isn't going to want to play that game, so he does switch out, and he switches back into the Pelipper. So that is going to go ahead and reset the rain to erase the sun, which is unfortunate, obviously. We do go for the Fire Blast. We do connect. It is weakened, obviously, because of the rain, so that does virtually nothing to the Pelipper. And now, obviously, we are going to have to switch out against this thing. So I think, based on the current game state, how do we want to handle this? How do we want to handle this? How do we want to handle this? I think we have to handle this by switching, but what do we switch in with? He probably U-turns here. So I think this is a tough decision, actually. I think we do switch into the Probo Pass to basically sack it off here because we don't want to let him get any momentum on us. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to switch directly into the Probo Pass here. As he does in fact U-turn, that's obviously going to take the Probo Pass out, knocking us down to 4 Pokemon and giving him the pivot. Now the only good thing about this situation is that he is going to have to show first what he brings in here. So that is going to allow us to choose a matchup. So obviously he is going to come in with the Barraskewda. Obviously this thing is choice banned. I think we still have to come in with the Ninetales here. So that's exactly what we're going to do because we have to erase that that rain with the sun against this Barraskewda. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, even choice banded, I'm leery about trying to take an attack from this thing. So I think we have a difficult decision to make on our hands here, but I think we do switch into the Trevenant now. I think that's our play, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to see where that takes us here. So there it is, and he is going to go Liquidation, so he was trying to take the Ninetales out. That does virtually nothing to the Trevenant, which is nice. So now I think our play is going to simply be to try and grow. I think that's going to be our play. I think, although maybe not, because he could just be coming in with the Pelipper. So knowing that, I really want to go for a growth, but I don't think it's the right play. So I think we go for a Horn Leech instead here, as he does switch the Barraskewda. No way he was going to stay in on that matchup. So he does switch the Pelipper in as anticipated. And unfortunately, he is going to get the Drizzle to once again erase the rain, as we do go for a Horn Leech here. Does quite good damage to the Pelipper, and we do get some HP back from that. So based on that damage, I still don't think it's enough, because what I'm thinking about doing here is going Terra and trying to take this thing out with a Sucker Punch. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't think it's going to be enough, sadly. So I think what we have to do, he could easily go for a Hurricane here, and that would be awful, although he probably just pivots again. But he could easily Hurricane, which would be devastating. So I think we just go back into Ninetales. I think that's the play. We just have to straight switch to Ninetales, because we cannot leave the Rain on the field for any duration of time against this thing, because he's a much more committed Rain team than I am a Sun team. So we do switch with Ninetales. We do get the Sunlight up, and he does just U-turn, so he's just going to keep pivoting over and over, unfortunately. But that just kind of is what it is. So he is going to get the pivot out here. And the question is, what does he pivot in with? That is the question. He does have, obviously, a lot of options, and the option he is going to choose is going to be the Zapdos. So that thing comes in. Now, we could try to take this thing out with a Fire Blast. I think that's probably our only play, although he probably just switches right back into the Pelipper. But I think our only hope is to try and take this thing out with a Fire Blast at this point. I think that is probably our only hope. Probably our only hope. Because we don't really have anything else to switch in against this thing, so that's what we're going to do. So he outspeeds us, goes for a Volt Switch, does a lot of damage, but we do survive, and he does get the pivot, so Pivot City, unfortunately. He is going to pivot back into the Manaphy, which is an interesting decision. So that thing comes in, we go for the Fire Blast, we do connect with it, which is not quite enough to take this thing out, unfortunately. Now, the question becomes, how do we want to handle this? And I think the answer is we go back to, I think we go to Cramorant this time. Yeah, I think we go Cramorant this time. That's the play. So that's what we're going to do. We do switch out. And what is he going to want to do with this Manaphy? We come in with the Cramorant, as he is actually going to switch the Manaphy, so that's confirmation that we are faster than the Manaphy, which is nice, as he switches the Pelipper in. So that thing is going to go ahead and get the Drizzle to make it rain once more. I think in this situation, we're just going to go ahead and I don't know that we're gonna. Well, we don't really need Terra. He's probably just pivoting out again here. So we're just gonna go ahead and go for a rain boosted Surf as he actually just straight up switches the Pelipper, and he straight up switches the Pelipper into the Barraskewda, which is interesting. So that thing comes in. We go for a Surf here. That is going to do a ton of damage to the Barraskewda, and we do catch the Arrokuda, which is a super ironic situation. The irony is not lost on me here. So I think we 100% just Surf again here and see what he wants to do. So that is what we're going to do. We're pushing the edges of the timer here. He goes for Liquidation. Can we hang on? Yes! Cramorant hangs on with 31 HP. We launch the Arrokuda at the Barraskewda, doing some chip damage. Not quite enough to take it out. We go for the Surf in return. The Surf does take the Barraskewda out, knocking him down to 3 Pokemon, which is incredible. We catch the Pikachu this time with the Cramorant and get some HP back with the leftovers. So Cramorant breaking the cycle here, which is pretty incredible, as now he's going to come in with the Zapdos. And so we're pushing the edges of the timer here. We're just going to Surf again and see what he wants to do. We're committed to staying in here as he outspeeds us, goes for the Volt Switch. Does take the Cramorant out as we launch the Pikachu, which does chip this thing down to about a quarter, getting the static to paralyze the Zapdos, and knocks us down to 3 on the Cramorant going down. So he is going to get the pivot out, so he's going to have to show first. We might just get one more turn here, but we're going to have to see how this plays out. So he comes in with the Manaphy, and so we know the Ninetales outspeeds. But even so, we're going to make a chance. We're going to come in with Trevenant here and try to close this game out. So we're going to come in with Trevenant. I think this thing might be Choice, but I'm not sure. We're going to go ahead and, with 1 turn left in the game, Terrastalize Dark Sucker Punch here as he does stay in. We go ahead and bust out our Terra with seconds left on the clock. Going to Terrastalize the Trevenant into a Dark type, losing all of our prior weaknesses here. And we are going to hope that he goes for an attacking move. We go for the Sucker Punch, and he did not go for an attacking move for some reason, as he goes for the Rest. So that is super unfortunate. So he is going to go ahead and regain all of his HP from that. So looks like he's going to go ahead and wake up because of the hydration, but it doesn't matter because the timer's up, game is over. Now, we are still sitting at, it's technically tied at 3-3, but unfortunately, thanks to that play, I think he's going to have more HP on his Pokemon than we are, so we're going to go for the Horn Leech. Timer's up, game is over, and we unfortunately do lose. So, yeah, we are going to lose that one. 3-3 versus Scorpion. That was a really, really kind of crappy way to lose that game, quite honestly. It was a smart play on his part, kind of using the timer to his advantage to get a technicality victory, which, yeah, I'm not going to lie, does kind of suck. But it was a very good game, very hard-fought match, very competitive match, nonetheless. So that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.